Let me ask you something. When you walk into a room, do you shrink to fit or do you stand like you belong? Because here's the truth. Confidence isn't arrogance and self-belief isn't ego. It's necessary. In a world that constantly tells you to dim your light, sometimes the boldest thing you can do is act as if you are the best. Because if you don't believe it first, why should anyone else? Let me tell you something. I wish someone had told me a long time ago, the way you see yourself shapes the way the world sees you. That's not just a motivational quote. It's a daily reality. Self-perception isn't just a quiet thought you carry in your head. It's a signal you broadcast whether you realize it or not. Walk into a room with your head down, your energy low, your words hesitant, and people will mirror that right back at you. Walk in like you belong there, like you've got something to contribute, like you own your name, and suddenly you're commanding attention without saying a word. This isn't about faking it. It's not about lying to yourself or putting on some show. It's about stepping into the truth of who you are, even if the world hasn't caught up to it yet. Sometimes you have to act as if you're the best, not because you're trying to impress other people, but because you need to remind yourself of what you already carry. Every room you enter, every conversation you have, every decision you make, your self-image walks in 5 steps ahead of you. It speaks before you open your mouth. People feel it. Now, I get it. Some of you are thinking, but I don't feel like the best. I've failed. I've messed up. I've been overlooked. And you know what? Me too. We all have. But let me make this clear. Your past does not get to write your self-worth. Your worth isn't up for debate. You're not auditioning for value every day. And once you start living like that's true, things shift. You ever notice how the people who carry themselves with quiet confidence, those people who don't need to prove anything, somehow always get listened to? It's because they've made peace with their worth. They're not trying to get approval. They've already given it to themselves. That kind of energy can't be taught in a book. It's something you decide. It's practiced daily. Let's break it down even further. Confidence doesn't begin with public praise. It begins with private conversations. The ones you have with yourself. What are you telling yourself when no one's around? Are you tearing yourself down before anyone else gets the chance to? Are you waiting for someone to validate you before you step fully into who you are? If so, you're giving your power away. And let me tell you something, and no one is coming to hand it back to you. You've got to take it. And here's the truth. The world already tries to knock you down enough. Life is full of reminders of what you're not. You're not tall enough, not smart enough, not experienced enough. And if you let that noise get louder than your own voice, you'll start living like it's true. But the moment you flip the script, when you start speaking to yourself like you've already arrived, like you're not chasing something, but owning it, that's when people take notice, because energy doesn't lie, presence doesn't lie. And if you still feel unsure, let me challenge you with this. What if the very thing you're waiting for, respect, opportunity, recognition, is sitting on the other side of you, believing in yourself just enough to start acting like it's already yours? What if the door is already open and you just need to walk through it like you belong? So when I say act as if you are the best, I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm talking about alignment. I'm talking about matching your posture to your potential. Walking in like you're the best doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It means you're no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You're no longer apologizing for your voice. You're no longer waiting for permission to take up space. Because when you finally start showing up like you believe in yourself, others will start believing in you too. Let them catch up. You ever find yourself scrolling, comparing, wondering if you're behind, like somehow everyone else figured it out while you're still trying to find your place in the world? It's subtle at first. You start measuring your worth by someone else's highlight reel, their wins, their style, their numbers. And before you know it, you're not just doubting your path, you're questioning if you even have one. But here's the thing, comparison will trick you into shrinking your own story. It will rob you of clarity. And clarity is everything. You can't walk with purpose if your eyes are always on someone else's lane. The moment you start playing the comparison game, you give away your power. You stop building your life and start reacting to theirs. And let's be honest, half the time we're comparing ourselves to people we don't even know. We don't know the sacrifices they made, the shortcuts they took, or the battles they're hiding. We're comparing the truth of our lives to the fiction of theirs. And that's never a fair fight. You were never meant to be them, and they were never meant to be you. There's power in knowing your lane and staying in it with focus. Because when you get clear on who you are, you stop wasting time chasing what's not yours. You stop needing validation from everyone else. And that right there is freedom. Let me tell you, acting as if you're the best doesn't mean you're trying to be better than everyone else. It means you're choosing to be better than your of old self. It means you're done comparing and you're committed to becoming. You're not in a race. You're not in a competition. You're in a process that's going to require you to lock in on your own growth, your own timing, and your own values. Think about the people who move with real confidence, not the loud kind, the grounded kind. They're not looking left or right. They're not measuring themselves against others. They're locked in because they know comparison will drain their energy and they need all of it to keep becoming who they're supposed to be. You can't pour energy into building your own thing if you're too busy staring at someone else's. You know what clarity sounds like? This is who I am. This is where I'm going. And I don't need to copy anyone to get there. That kind of mindset doesn't just change how you move. It changes the people you attract, the opportunities that find you, the peace you carry. Clarity brings alignment. It makes your yeses sharper and your no's stronger. Because when you know who you are, you stop entertaining what you're not. And here's what happens when you stop comparing. You start celebrating. You celebrate progress. You celebrate growth. You celebrate your voice, your ideas, your unique wiring. You stop treating someone else's success like it takes away from your own. And that's when you become magnetic, because nothing is more attractive than someone who knows who they are and doesn't need to prove it to anyone. Let me be real with you. Clarity requires work. It takes courage to turn down the noise and tune into your own lane. It's easier to scroll and compare. It's easier to copy someone else's blueprint than build your own. But easy doesn't lead to peace. Easy doesn't lead to legacy. Clarity does. So the next time you feel yourself slipping into comparison, pause, breathe, remind yourself your story is not supposed to look like theirs. Your timing is not supposed to match theirs. Your calling is not supposed to feel like theirs. And that's the point. That's the beauty of it. That's what makes you, you. So stop looking around. Look within. There's something in you that no one else can offer. But to unlock it, you've got to let go of comparison and choose clarity. Keep your eyes on your lane. You ever walk into a room and feel like you've got something to say, something real to bring to the table, but your body betrays you. Your shoulders tighten, your voice drops, your eyes shift around, and just like that, your presence gets small before you've even said a word. Let's talk about that. Because posture isn't just physical, it's powerful. How you carry yourself, how you hold space, how you enter a room, it all speaks. And it speaks loudly, even in silence. See, people pick up on your energy before they ever hear your voice. Before you introduce yourself, before you make your point, before you even shake a hand, your posture tells a story. And if your body says, I'm unsure, I'm nervous, I'm not enough, then don't be surprised when people respond like they believe that story too. But when your body says, I'm grounded, I'm ready, I belong, everything shifts. You're not louder, you're clearer, you're not aggressive, your A's anchored. We spend so much time trying to find the right words, trying to say the right thing in the right moment. But if your energy doesn't match your message, people feel that disconnect. You can't talk like a leader and stand like you want to disappear. You can't say you're confident and move like you're afraid to be seen. So the question becomes, is your posture matching your potential? You don't have to be the loudest person in the room to own it. This isn't about taking up space for attention. It's about standing in your value. It's about being rooted in your identity. It's the kind of presence that says, I don't need to prove anything, but I'm also not backing down. That's real power. And it's not something you wait to feel. It's something you wait practicing. Confidence doesn't show up just because the stakes are high. It shows up because you've rehearsed it when no one was watching. It shows up in the way you sit across from a friend, in the way you walk into a room with strangers, in the way you choose eye contact, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's in the steady voice you use when you want to rush. It's in the breath you take before answering a question. That's what presence looks like. It's controlled. It's consistent. It's quiet, but it commands respect. We've been trained to think confidence is about charisma or charm. It's not. Confidence is alignment when your inside matches your outside. When your words don't need decoration because they come from clarity. When your body isn't trying to hide you, it's trying to support you. Posture isn't about ego. It's about ownership. Ownership of your space, ownership of your voice, ownership of your value, even when it feels like no one else sees it yet. And listen, I know what it's like to feel small. I know what it's like to second guess every move, to wonder if people can see the doubt sitting right under your smile. But here's what I've learned. No one can stand tall for you. No one can own your voice, but the more you wait for confidence to show up before you act, the longer you stay stuck. But if you flip that, if you move like you're confident, if you stand like it, speak like it, walk like it, your mind starts to catch up. Your body teaches your brain what to believe. That's not pretending. That's ever retraining. So start where you are, shoulders back, chin up, breathe deeper, speak slower. Take up just a little more space than feels comfortable. That's where it begins. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to show up like you believe you're allowed to be in the room, because the truth is you are allowed. You're not here by accident. And once your posture starts matching your purpose, the world will respond to you differently. Not because you changed who you are, but because you finally decided to own it. Let them feel your presence before they hear your voice. We live in a world that's obsessed with winning, with looking polished, with appearing like you've got it all figured out. But let me tell you something real. The best aren't perfect. They're not spotless. They're not without failure. They just know how to fall without losing themselves in the process. They fail forward, and they don't hide from it. They learn from it. They grow from it. And most importantly, they own it. See, when you act as if you're the best, it's not because you think you'll never get it wrong. It's because you've decided that even when you do, it won't define you. You've chosen to show up boldly, knowing mistakes are part of the process. Confidence doesn't come from having a flawless record. It comes from building resilience, from being able to look at failure and say, yeah, that happened, and I'm still here. Some of the most successful people you'll ever meet are the ones who've been knocked down the hardest. Not once, not twice, over and over. But they kept getting back up. Why? Because they understood that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. You don't learn how to lead, how to speak, how to show up by avoiding mistakes. You learn by walking through them, by taking the hit and still deciding to grow. The difference between those who rise and those who fade isn't whether they fail. It's what they do with it. Do they hide? Do they pretend it didn't happen? Do they beat themselves up for weeks, months, years? Or do they pause, take the lesson, and get back in the game stronger than before? Acting like you're the best isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about being willing to stand in the tension of growth, being willing to try again even after a loss, to speak up after you've been ignored, to pitch the idea again after the last one fell flat. It's that quiet strength that says, I'm not done yet. And let's be real, it takes courage to fail in front of people. It takes guts to show up when your confidence is cracked, when your track record is shaky, when people might be watching and waiting for you to fall again. But if you can push through that, if you can show up anyway, that's where your real power gets built. Don't let the fear of getting it wrong keep you from getting started. Don't wait until you have the perfect plan. You won't, and you don't need one. What you need is momentum, because movement creates clarity, and clarity creates confidence. You want to feel more sure of yourself. Stop waiting for certainty and start doing. Messy, awkward, imperfect, but doing. You want to build belief in yourself. Don't look for comfort. Look for courage. Step into things that stretch you. Say yes to the opportunity you don't feel quite ready for. Try the thing you might fail at, because every time you face that discomfort and survive it, you're building proof. You're stacking up evidence that says, look, I made it through that. I can make it through this too. It's not about pretending the fear's not there. It's about not letting it run the show. The most confident people aren't fearless. They're just not led by fear. They've decided that failure might be part of the story, but it won't be the whole story. They've made peace with the fact that growth will cost them comfort, and they've chosen growth anyway. You've got to stop seeing failure as something to avoid and start seeing it as something to use. Let it sharpen you. Let it refine you. Let it remind you that you're in the arena, not sitting on the sidelines. You're trying, you're moving, you're growing, and that matters more than getting it right every time. So if you fall forward. Keep your eyes on what's ahead. Get up with more clarity. Speak with more conviction. Walk with more weight. Because the ones who win in the end aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who never have stayed down. Wear your failures like armor. There's a big difference between making an impression and leaving a legacy. An impression can last a moment. A legacy outlives you. And here's what most people don't understand. When you carry yourself like you're the best, when you walk with purpose, when you speak with clarity and stand in your value, you give other people permission to do the same. That's the legacy. That's the impact. We think confidence is for us, that it's about personal gain or self-image. But true confidence isn't selfish. It's contagious. When you show up fully, when you stop shrinking, when you act like your presence matters, people feel that and they respond. They adjust their posture. They speak up. They take risks. Not because you told them to, but because they saw you do it and something in them said, maybe I can too. That's how real influence works. It's not about dominating the room. It's about elevating it, making people feel seen, not small, creating space for others to step into their own version of strength. And that only happens when you first decide to stop waiting for approval and start walking like you already belong. But if you're not careful, you'll get caught chasing applause. You'll confuse the sound of claps with the presence of purpose. And while applause might boost your ego, it won't build a legacy. That comes from consistency, from how you treat people, from how you show up when no one's watching, from who you are when the lights are off and no one's handing out praise. You want to leave something behind. Then be someone worth remembering, not because of your success, but because of your substance. You don't need a platform to do that. You don't need a stage. All you need is to carry yourself with the kind of quiet strength that shifts a room without needing attention. The kind of presence that says, I don't need to be the center, but I am's the standard. And it starts in the small moments. The way you speak to someone who can't offer you anything in return. The way you show up for people when it's inconvenient. The way you remain grounded when things go right and steady when they don't. That's legacy work. That's what people remember. Not how loud you were, not how perfect you looked, but how you made them feel. So when I say act as if you're the best, I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm not talking about walking around like you've got all the answers. I'm talking about showing up with integrity, leading with authenticity, owning your space so fully that others are inspired to step into theirs. Because the people around you are watching. They're learning not from your speeches, but from your posture, your habits, your choices. And I want to be real. This world doesn't need more egos. It needs more examples. People who walk like they know their worth, but don't use it to look down on others. People who are solid enough in themselves that they don't compete. They lift. They don't criticize. They encourage. They don't copy, they create. That's what it means to leave a legacy. You live in such a way that people can borrow courage just from being around you. It's not about always being the best in the room. It's about walking like you've got something valuable to offer, because you do. It's about showing people what it looks like to live fully in your calling, even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, even when no one claps. You don't have to prove you're the best. You just have to A-zone that you're enough and carry that truth with so much clarity that the people around you start believing it for themselves. That's how you make a mark. That's how you lead without a title. That's how you leave something behind that actually matters. Live in a way that makes other people raise their standard. So here's what I want you to leave with. You don't have to wait for the world to tell you you're enough. You don't have to wait for the title, the applause, or the perfect moment. You act as if you're the best, not because you think you're better than anyone else, but because you finally decided to stop being less than you. This isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about walking in the room like you belong there because you do. It's about choosing clarity over comparison, posture over perfection, resilience over fear, and legacy over ego. You've been playing small for long enough, shrinking your voice, holding back your gift, questioning your worth. But now it's time. It's time to take up space, speak with weight, move with purpose, and lead like it's already yours. The world doesn't need another copy. The world needs you. So stand tall, walk forward, and act like you're the best. Because the moment you do, everything starts to change.